Hello my friends! In today's video we will take a look at some photography and filmmaking equipment that I have acquired over the past 3 years that has proven to be worth the investment in the long term. I have made a similar video 3 years ago, so here I will also reflect a little bit on the items from my first best investments list. Since then I was able to try a lot of interesting products on this channel, so in this video I will show you 10 products or types of products that were worth the investment for me. One of the items on my 2020 list was a full-frame camera. The specific model that I have mentioned in that video was Sony A7R IV A, which is still on sale today and it isn't any cheaper than it was back then. I still use it, so I guess that I was right about that one. This year I will be a bit more specific because the first item on the list is a high-resolution camera. My main argument why full-frame cameras are a good investment was that they tend to age better. Even if the specs get a bit outdated, you still have that full-frame look. That still applies with high-resolution cameras, but now we also have great resolution which will be up to date for a very long time. The output that you can get out of these cameras is significantly ahead of their release time for the vast majority of publishing platforms. If you think about it, A7R IV A was released back in 2017, but the 42 megapixel images that it can produce still look amazing, and I'm pretty sure that they will look amazing in 2027 or 10 years after the release. The one that I use is Sony A7R IV A, specifically the A version with a high-resolution display. It uses a 61 megapixel sensor, which is still the highest resolution of all full-frame cameras. Needless to say, it captures an incredible amount of detail. This amount of detail gives you a great flexibility for cropping and reframing. I also enjoy just being able to zoom in on my cityscape photos and enjoy the detail. The A7R IV A is not a current generation, but for slow-paced photography it is still an incredibly capable and up-to-date camera. I will also make a video about the A7R IV A in 2023 very soon. Another returning item from the 2020 list is a specialty lens. By that I mean something less common outside of the usual trinity of zooms and common prime lens focal lengths. A specialty lens that I use by far the most is Sony FE 90mm f2.8G OSS macro. I bought it back in 2020 and I have used it for virtually all product photography that you have seen on this channel since then. I also use it for flowers and wristwatches. It is still one of the sharpest lenses ever made and it works great with a 61 megapixel sensor in the A7R IV A. It has a very special optical character. It is a real macro lens, which means that it provides 1:1 magnification. Despite that it is an f2.8 lens, it has a beautiful bokeh rendering. This lens is optically good to the point where almost every picture that you take with it looks somewhat special. Besides that, it is also optically stabilized, which is very useful for handheld macro shots. Of all lenses that I've ever tested on this channel, there are maybe 4 or 5 that stand out, and this is definitely one of them. 3 more lenses in this category that are worth mentioning are Nisi 15mm f4, Sony FE 12-24mm f2.8, and Sirui 50mm t2.9 anamorphic lens. The next item are CFexpress cards and what I would describe as a storage infrastructure. I used to greatly underestimate CFexpress cards in the past. They make a huge difference even with mainstream hybrid cameras such as A7 IV or XH2. First of all, they basically give you an unlimited buffer regardless of the settings. You can enter the playback menu immediately after you have shot hundreds of images with no delay. You can also change any setting without waiting. I have completely switched to CFexpress cards with both A7 IV and XH2. I only use SD cards if I really need backup writing. With the XH2 I use the SpareGear CFexpress Type B cards. They are actually much cheaper than most UHS 2 cards with the same capacity, but they are much faster. I've been using them for about 6 months with no issues whatsoever. With the A7 IV I still use Sony CFexpress Type A cards. Unfortunately they are quite expensive, but they are first party, so that is to be expected. The second part of the storage infrastructure are readers. I recently got this media station from a company called Pen Scheme. It consists of a hub which is connected to your computer and up to 4 modules that can be connected to the hub. You can get 4 different types of modules: Dual SD card, Dual Micro SD, CFexpress Type B, and Dual USB port. It is connected to your computer by 10 gigabits per second interface, so it should match the speed of the majority of your media devices. All of the modules can also be used as standalone readers, which is very useful for traveling. I think that this is an absolutely genius product that has immediately improved my workflow and made my life easier, so I very highly recommend it. The fourth item is a camera case or trunk. I got this B&W Outdoor Case 5000 back in 2021, and it has completely changed the way that I transport and store camera gear. Probably the biggest strength of this kind of case is the access. You just can't beat this. It is basically like taking your camera drawer with you. This case is pretty much indestructible. It is extremely tough, very well made, and even water resistant. These cases are available in many shapes and sizes. This 5000 version is ideal for 2 or 3 bodies and 4 to 7 lenses depending on the size. The inner part is fully customizable. It comes with a pre-cut foam that you can configure to fit your specific cameras, lenses, and other gear. An alternative is this Velcro organizer, which is also highly customizable. Regarding the tripods, I still think that a high-quality tripod is one of the best photo-video investments. Since the last video, I have switched from light travel tripods such as Sirui 7C to a more high-end and heavy-duty but still very portable tripods such as Sirui ST224. These tripods fit into a window where they are more than sturdy enough to be used as a main heavy-duty tripod, but at the same time they are light enough to be carried around fairly easily. The ST224 is really good at that thanks to the space-saving triangular shape of the central column. At the same time, it has a massive 15 kg payload. It has a lot of smart features such as quick release systems and gaskets for water resistance. I mostly use it with an ST20 ball head. Arguably, it makes even bigger difference than high-end tripod legs. It can fix very heavy setups in place with virtually no play whatsoever. That is not possible with smaller ball heads that usually come with travel tripods. Overall, I can highly recommend this combination. The other heavy-duty tripod that I use is iFootage Gazelle TC5. Besides those two, I still use smaller travel tripods such as Sirui 7C or even 5C. Item number 6 is an action camera. Most people are obviously familiar with action cameras, and I would say that they are a great creative tool for pretty much everybody. First of all, they are great for filming an actual action. Most people use action cameras as an ultra-wide point-and-shoot cameras, which makes sense. They are very small, durable, and importantly very easy to use. The pace of innovation is pretty solid in this market segment, but I would say that action cameras stay relevant for a pretty long time. Even if you have something like a Hero 8 or the original Osmo Action today, they will still produce very nice action camera footage. At the moment, I can recommend GoPro Hero 11 Black, Insta360 ONE RS, and the DJI Osmo Action 3. DJI Action 2 is also a very interesting alternative. All of them have different advantages, and I have reviewed all of them on this channel if you are interested. Also worth mentioning in this category is DJI Pocket 2. This is one of my all-time favorite cameras regardless of the category. If you are not familiar with it, I will leave a link to my review in the description, although I intend to make a 2023 review in the near future. One more upgraded item from 2020 list are magnetic filters. Freewell's new magnetic variable ND filter system is a truly innovative product. First of all, it makes attaching and detaching the filters much easier and faster. This particular package provides 7 different filters, and it will cover the needs of most filmmakers and hybrid users. The optical qualities of these filters are great, and you won't be able to see any decrease of sharpness even in 6K. The only downside is that this system is a little bit more bulky than your average VND system. You will also have to take some time to learn how it works. If you are willing to do that, you will get a very versatile and convenient filter system. The next item is a proper charging equipment. Especially if you travel a lot and you carry a lot of equipment with you, efficient charging setup can make your life a lot easier. Probably the most important part of an efficient charging setup is the charger itself. Latest gallium nitride chargers offer pretty amazing size to performance ratio. I currently use two chargers from Ugreen. One can output 65 watts and the other one can output 140 watts for situations where I need to charge everything at the same time. On the other end of the spectrum are these Apple 5-watt chargers that I use for battery preserving slow charging. Regarding the battery chargers, I still use Nightcore chargers most of the time. I consider them to be the most advanced and the safest chargers available. I have one for Sony NP-FZ100, for Fuji NP-W235, and for good old Sony NP-F series of batteries. On the other hand, these are not the smallest chargers available and most of them are micro USB. That is why I also use these no-name USB-C dual chargers. They are very cheap, in my experience 100% reliable, they weigh pretty much nothing and they are very compact. I will have a link to the one that I use for Sony in the description. Another piece of equipment that definitely belongs on this list is Atomos NINJA V. The main reason why I use it is that the panel is very detailed, more than sufficiently bright and accurate. The user interface is still by far the best of all displays and recorders on the market. It is also a recorder, so it allows you to record directly to SSD through HDMI. Depending on your camera, it allows you to shoot in ProRes or even RAW. Basically every filming aid that has ever been invented is available on this monitor. That includes focus peaking, false colors, histogram, exposure warnings, options to load custom LUT, and so on. A new version called Ninja V Plus is available and that one can record up to 8K 30p. I will probably have to buy that one to keep up with the cameras that I'm testing, but I can certainly say that the Ninja V has paid for itself. An unexpected item on this list is LG DualUp monitor. To be honest, I got this one as a review unit from LG and I didn't intend to keep using it after the review. I've actually ended up using it basically every day. My review mainly describes what it's like to use it as a main monitor. It is an interesting option as a main monitor, but I use it as a secondary monitor and for me personally it is pretty much perfect for this purpose. It is a very unusual 16 by 18 aspect ratio 28-inch monitor. These are basically two vertically stacked 21.5-inch 1440p monitors. I mainly use it for video editing because it allows me to have a media browser and a large preview or something else outside of my main display. That basically means that I'm getting 3 monitors instead of 2. Despite that, it takes up less space on my desk because they are vertically stacked. One of the highlights of the DualUp is the Ergo stand, which is extremely solid, very adjustable and also space saving. The quality of this panel is generally very good and 1440p is completely fine for 21.5-inch panels. Overall, it is a very useful tool for video editing. A bonus item is my MacBook Air M2. Air M2 is a very well-rounded machine that goes way beyond the level of performance implied by that mid-tier Air designation. I don't use it as my main video editing machine, but it would be sufficient for maybe 90% of my video editing and 100% of my photo editing. I have made a video about that which will be linked in the description, but the short version is that it is capable of pretty much anything when it comes to photo editing. In terms of the video editing, it is okay for usual 4K files, but big amount of high bitrate, less editing friendly files might slow it down. Besides the performance, it also has all of the usual MacBook strengths such as excellent display, excellent trackpad, outstanding battery life and so on. All of that comes in a very well made and very portable package. I can say that the Air M2 has significantly surpassed my expectations. So these were my top 10 investments that I have made in the past 3 years. I can say that all of this stuff has paid for itself, except for the review units of course, which is indeed very important to those who are trying to make a living as content creators. I hope that this video was useful, maybe inspirational, and that it will help you make good decisions in the future. So that's it for this video, thank you for watching, I hope that you liked this video and that you found it to be useful. Stay tuned for more videos and maybe consider subscribing if you don't want to miss my future content. I appreciate your feedback in form of thumbs up or thumbs down. If you would like to ask anything or share your opinion, please do so in the comment section, and see you next time.